Welcome to On the Floor Deconstruction. My name is DJ Ghetto Steve. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. We are going to take a bit of a trip down memory lane. I have some things that I found in my storage unit, most of which I haven't touched in years. And let's see what we've got. All right. So first off, we have some leftovers from the mission field. So this is a really cute thing of Australia. We were actually going to be missionaries to New Zealand, but we ended up with a lot of Australia stuff and mixed in with all of our things since it's, you know, the big nation next door. And then we have this cute little bag that I believe my mom stitched on here. It was either my mom or my grandma that stitched that out for me. This my grandmother made for me when I was very little. I am not sure how little, but yeah, these little guys come out, so it's like multiple toys in one. All right, this was my 4-H project, learning to knit, and I did pretty decent, just, you know, rolled edges. Those were the bane of my existence. Now, this is the meat and potatoes. So anyone who's been a part of this already knows what I'm about to pull out. This is my Cubbies uniform. Cubbies are the youngest of the Awana kids. I forget what ages exactly, but it's like, I want to say they start them at 4 or 5, something like that. They try and make sure they're potty trained. But you get these little patches for doing little things, and in some cases, it might be Bible verse memorization. In other cases, it might be a craft project that they had. I honestly have no idea what the zebras, giraffes, elephants, sheep, and lions are for. Yeah, that is gone from memory. But yeah, this was me. Club number 787. So, you know, just like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. And then, right. So Sparks, I didn't get as many patches. I think, because this would have been, yeah, this would have been during deputation. So we really weren't home a lot for the, like, I think they were usually on Wednesday nights, maybe Thursday nights, but due to our traveling, I wasn't able to go to as many of these as I did when I was, you know, Cubby's age. So we got these patches, and you know, it's got the little thing for the bar. So you've got Sparks and Sparky. Now, here is the potentially triggering part. Anybody who wants to sing along can. We are sparks for Jesus, sparks to light the world. We will shine for Jesus as we tell each boy and girl. We will hide God's word in our hearts. We will love him right from the start. From his love we never can part. We are sparks, sparks, sparks to light the world. And we were in a new area when I was in Sparks, so yeah, different church. But I gotta say, I'm pretty sure there was like a bronze, a silver, and a gold, so I'm pretty sure I missed the gold. But I definitely filled out my gold, or my silver and my bronze. I was always, just like I am with my video games now, I wanted all the achievements. I wanted all the secret achievements. Give them to me now. Okay. Now, that has personally identifiable information on it, so we're not going to look at that. So, I have a lot of family that are also missionaries. And I had an aunt who was stationed in Madrid, Spain. She was a special education teacher there. And she brought back a bunch of these plates. Let's see. There we go. There we go. There we go. All of different locations in Spain. Well, that's cool. Better than a postcard, right? Now, when I was in high school, I was an obsessive runner. 96 would have been my sophomore year. I was first place overall. And keep in mind, the meet of the champions was an invite only thing. So only people who had placed high enough at events through the season previously even got invited to this. And I won. Now, this was not a win like the Junior Olympics, where I was the only girl who showed up. So I ran with the boys. I beat some of the boys. So I got first place on that one. But yeah, I was only ever going to get first place on that one. And those kinds of wins suck. So I was a bit of a picture hound when I was younger. Well, I mean, I still am. I take pictures of absolutely everything. So this is all college year. This crew right here was the honors crew. They were my study group, and we had so much fun. So much fun. Great, smart people. Witty, sarcastic, funny. Love them. Good God, me back in the day. There was a rock on campus, and it was like campus tradition that people would paint it. I mean, it was covered in like 500 layers of paint. So we went out and painted our own thing. We were quite proud of it. Gotta love my 90s snowboarding jacket there. I really, really loved that coat. Here I am, all pretty in the blue dress, which is wild to think about wearing. This is Weird Me. So, like we all know, I'm weird. That's me in point shoes and a hula skirt with a wild jungle themed shirt that I had made myself. Yeah. This is the real lore, right? So this rock face right here was part of a rock face that I almost drove into. Yeah. I was driving home from the Boulder, my senior year of high school. I had gone by myself because I wasn't on the cross-country team that year. And I fell asleep while I was driving. Yeah, so I almost crashed into the wall of stone. I managed to steer away from that, but because I obviously did so violently because I was waking up almost crashing, yeah, I ended up spinning around on the road because there was a bunch of gravel and dirt on the road. And then I proceeded to go backwards off of a ravine. The Jeep rolled a couple of times and then ejected me out the passenger side window. I blacked out. I do not remember being ejected out of the window, but I woke up on the side of the hill, the ravine, the like 90-foot ravine, and I did a quick, what I thought was a quick body check to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm fine, we can keep going. And so I picked myself up and I start walking climbing really to the top of the hill so I can flag somebody down on the highway. Well, I get to the top and I'm like, man, my leg is cold. Why is my left leg so much colder than my right leg? What's going on? I look down. My entire left leg is covered in blood. It's really bad, and I kind of start panicking. Right about that time, a caravan of cars coming back from a family reunion that happened to have either 2 or 3 EMS persons and a RN that were in those cars. So they immediately started doing shock protocol and everything on me and contacted my family, contacted ambulance, etc. And they were everything. They were angels in that circumstance. Obviously, I survived. It was not Not a fun time recovering from that, but yeah, we're still here. Now, I went up into the mountains a lot. My favorite thing in the summers at the adventure camps was climbing a 14er, because you would get to the top and there was just these amazing views. Like, it was just wild. And like this one right here. See how there's just this huge, vast array of mountain peaks, and you see them all. It's awe-inspiring, and oh, I absolutely love it. Now, we've talked about how I'm weird and I'm a nerd, right? Okay. So, I was a stamp collector. Do not ask me how I got into it, but I am a stamp I don't know, a stamp collector. So we have Grand Ole Opry, Joe Louis, we have birds and Olympics and World War II, and I have actually a lot of stamps from around the world because of all of our missionary friends and missionary family. We've got like Cote d'Ivoire and Colombia. I believe this is Australian. No, a bunch of these are from Spain. Like I said, my aunt was stationed in Spain. We got tons of mail from her, and we always, kept the different looking ones. Peru. I'm trying to remember who was in Peru. Ooh, New Zealand. These were like prized possessions because we only had like one or maybe two missionary families that we knew down in New Zealand. Republic of Congo, Kenya. I was actually, side note, obsessed with Kenya when I was in high school for two reasons. The long distance runners that were in the Olympics, the Boulder, the New York Marathon, the Chicago Marathon, etc. The winners, like 99% of the time, they were from Kenya because of the way that the Kenyan teams at home would train on these ridiculously long, hilly stretches of land. And so they were just, hardcore trainers. And I really admired that and loved watching them, cheering them on in the Olympics and stuff like that. So I got real excited when I had Kenya stamps to add to the list. Oh, the second reason that I was into them was because I was really into, but like rare viruses and what are they called? Hemorrhagic fevers. So Marburg and Ebola and stuff like that. And so a lot of that happened in Kenya and Ghana and that sort of thing. So yeah, they were interesting to me on multiple fronts. More, ooh, here we go, 84. Oh, the duck thing that John Oliver talks about? Yeah, that's the duck thing. How funny. Doonesbury predicting memes, basically. Nice. Good job. So, yeah, here's my proof. I was at Cedarville, and I am all the way at the back there with my long hair, and you can tell it's 99 because look at that men's skater snowboard sweater. Yeah, I lived in those. Oh, look, it's an empty thing. Okay. A card from my first birthday. Aw, this is from my Aunt Phyllis. We had her funeral last year. She was good at the card game. Let's see, new baby. How cute. This is a Mother's Day card I got my mom. It says, P.S. Daddy says we both love you. Oh, that's so cute. That's from, I was barely 1 year old when we did that. This is so cute. Like, aw. Dude, baby cards in the 80s were like on point. Oh, look at that kitty. Look at that kitty. Oh, it's so cute that my mom hung on to all of this stuff. What's really funny is that I don't recognize the names on some of these cards, which means they came from friends of my parents, because obviously I was one, so it's not like I had a bunch of friends. Oh, these are from my my mom's baby shower for me. They have, you know, games that they play. So this was like a figure out what brand goes to each each slogan. Oh, this is hilarious. Okay, okay. So ready? 1980s nostalgia. Go. Gentlemen prefer Hanes, the sex appeal toothpaste, ultra bright. You can be sure if it's Westinghouse. Progress is our most important product, GE. From contented cows, Carnation. Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp, Gillette. His master's voice, RCA. Wow, that's surprising. Your face belongs to Noxzema. Give your cold a contact. Double your pleasure, double your fun. When you care enough to send the very best, Hallmark. And away go troubles down the drain, Roto-Rooter. Which, the Roto-Rooter I remember was Roto-Rooter, something like that. How funny. It actually references the Yellow Pages. Nice. That definitely explains how old this was. Oh, how cute. Little poems and stuff. Lord, I'm pretty sure almost all of these are baby shower, birth, and first year. I am not seeing any older cards in there. Good grief. I had an awful lot of cards. What you get when your family comes from big families. Like, there's just a lot of people involved. All right. This, actually, what is this? Okay, so yes. That, and their little Jews and little dog. Yes, sirree, folks. I was born in 1981. That is right. That is so cute, though. Little roses. Aww. In high school, I actually grew roses. I happened to inherit some at the house that we purchased when I was in junior high. So I was in charge of taking care of the roses, and I absolutely loved it. I studied it obsessively, like I do whenever I get a new hyperfixation. And so I ended up having, I picked out a wallpaper for my bedroom, and I picked one that was very muted colors of like gray and cream and rose. Because I was like, it's kind of girly, but kind of not. It was like, it feels a little more grown up than something else I would pick. So I felt like a big adult choosing my rosy. And I gotta tell you, the fabric on this, ooh, double knit polyester. Like, that's wow. That's so itchy. Oh my god, I had it backwards. Look how cute that is. Ah, that's adorable. Next up, we have, oh yeah, this is from my nursery. Again, that one has personally identifiable information. We're gonna skip that. That's like my birth announcement kind of thing. So weight, height, date, and all that good jazz. This is the Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep prayer, because that's not scary or anything for a little kid. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. I've never understood why we teach that as a like children's rhyme, but I don't know. Ring Around the Rosie is about the Black Death, so you know, it's all weird. Hi, what you doing, Brooklyn? So this is actually a rock that I painted at some point in time in the last 20 years. Who knows? I've had this for forever. It is mountains and a city and like grass and all right. This bad boy. I remember exactly what is in here. So we have, let's see, a bunch of the Yes. Stuff that I did theater-wise. Let's see. This is, I think, yeah, here we go. This was when I was a radio DJ for like 5 seconds, like 6 months, but whatever. Then in here, we have a lot of stuff. I was hoping to travel to Cote d'Ivoire, where my aunt, uncle, and a couple of cousins worked at a school for missionary kids. Yeah, so I was getting my shots done and everything. I was about to get my passport and whatnot, but literally after I got like the third or fourth round of shots done, they had a coup break out and it was no longer safe for Americans to go. So yeah, that was not a thing in the end. And now we enter the newspaper clipping section. So we've got 4-H stuff in here, we've got cross country, we've got track, we've got talent festivals, 4-H. Let's see, more track and cross country. There's a lot of track and cross country, like a lot. But I won this race where you had to run up the face of a small mountain peak and back down and see who wins. Not only did I win my age group, I won for all women. I was actually pretty close to the front of the pack, even for the guys. However, I had blown out my knee probably 2 weeks earlier. I mean, like, I had given myself 0 time to heal from that injury, which was a pretty bad one. And so I go run this race and I win, and I'm on the front page of the newspaper and everything. And I went to the doctor for a follow-up on my knee, and he was like, why did I see you on the front page of the newspaper winning the, oh gosh, what did they call that thing? Tenderfoot Hill Climb. There we go. He was like, why did I see you on the front of the newspaper winning the Tenderfoot Hill Climb? And I was like, 'cause I felt good. He gave me so much crap about it. But then I think it was maybe a month later, he was in the Leadville 100, which is an ultra marathon at elevation that's 100 miles long. So he ended up getting pulled out of the race by medical professionals because he was severely dehydrated and everything, and refused to stop running. So since he didn't stop of his own accord, they physically removed him from the race. So then when I went in for my next follow-up, I was like, so about that hill climb that you were upset about, yeah. This was my high school, and I think there's a little bit of college. Wow. So this is all stuff that I got from friends from around the country, because, you know, you grow up on the road, you make a lot of friends around the country. We did a camp skit where we were Bob the Tomato and Larry the Cucumber, and we did a little interview and stuff, like a behind the scenes of Veggie Tales. It was really cute. And then this was the Christian camp that I went to. Oh, there it is. There's Bob and Larry. We did, you know, totally normal camp stuff, a little bit of hiking, some capture the flag, arts and crafts, putt-putt. Oh my gosh. Okay, these Tweety Bird boxers were like my favorite thing in the whole wide world for the longest time. Yeah. And we had a banquet. So me and a friend went. He had this fabulous old suit, and I was doing the prairie girl thing, so. Oh, my baby! The babies that I had when I was in junior high and high school. So the Aussie that you see there, she is Nikki. She was a crazy little collie. Major, who was a mutt of some sort, we're guessing, had terrier in him. And then we had Tchaikovsky, who was a Akita Chow mix. They were They were phenomenal dogs. Loved them. I still have pictures of them up on my wall. Now, of course, it is not a teenage girl in the 1990s without having a giant Lisa Frank sticker. Ooh, I went to see the Newsboys, Third Day, The Waiting, and special speaker Ron Lucci. That name sounds familiar. I'm going to have to look at it again. Oh, high school, whoops, youth group friends and my little bro. We were a bunch of dorks. Oh, so my dad had this grand scheme to have a giant play structure in our backyard because we had a humongous backyard in junior high and high school. So my dad ended up constructing this big wooden thing, mostly out of like railroad ties for the main structure. And so it was like at the very top, I think it was 20 feet, 18, 20 feet, something like that up here at the like top beam. And then this was about 6, 7 feet up off the ground. And so there was like stuff to walk on. There was a cargo net at the bottom that you could climb around on. There was also a climbing wall. That's what he's standing right next to. It was wild. So like we had the craziest backyard. It was phenomenal. Yes, here we go. 1990s. Look at that camcorder. Look at that. And then I was a hostess and server at this local restaurant. And yeah, Dragon for life, man. And then our very sad alternative to Halloween party. It was, yeah, it was sad. So here is me. So that is me in junior high. I am in 4-H doing dog training with Nikki. And I got so many awards for dog training because Nikki was just the best dog ever. Oh my gosh. She was so easy to train. I was number 1 there. 1918. Like I said, there's a lot of newspaper clippings. Here's a little bit of randomness. So we've got my running, my taekwondo, my piano and voice, my dance and theater, and me being entirely too thoughtful, we'll call it. But yeah, we did Oklahoma. I was actually Lori in the ballet scene for Oklahoma. That was really fun. I lived in those. I also had a dark brown pair. Yeah, they were phenomenal. Oh, the urban camo. Yeah. Yes. My dad donated part of his liver to a family friend who is also a missionary, and the recipient his surgery went phenomenal. He is going strong to this day, like, what is this, 23 years later. So here is my graduation year. I, of course, graduated all by myself because I was homeschooled. My youth pastor gave the speech, and I actually had a small orchestra from somewhere else in the state, but it was all homeschoolers. So then we've got my graduation with my friend. Oh, this will never fail to crack me up. They put me in the newspaper regarding casting for a new play, and underneath me looking like, well, it's a cross between 90s grunge and yeah, futch, I think is what they call it. So it says men needed below that, which is hysterical. So this is me when I am like 9 or 10. The bangs here, ooh, that was a choice. So we actually went to, this was like an Olin Mills kind of thing, Sears or whatever. So before we go to get our pictures done, we go to get our hair done. And the lady is asking me how she wants my hair done. And I was like, I want all the bangs up. Because that's what you did in the early 90s. You had a wall of bangs that went as high as it possibly could. Now, my mom thought that that looked too old, like too mature or slutty for a 9 or 10 year old to have their hair like that. But I told the hairstylist when my mom wasn't around, I was like, boop, all the way up, all of it up, all of it up. So I have my big bangs for like the only time in my life. Here I am at 15, performing at some sort of art event. Notice the crushed velvet with white shoes. Yeah, purple with white shoes. I just went with it. And this was actually about as short as my hair ever was until I turned like 24, I think. So I always had super duper long hair. This was a fluke. Now my 12th birthday, that would have been 1993. We have my big side pony. What is on my, oh my gosh. Okay, note the shirt is a Walk for Life shirt because of course it was the 90s and we were evangelical Christians, so of course we were doing the most to support crisis pregnancy centers. So we did the Walk for Life every year, and I raised hundreds of dollars every year to go towards crisis pregnancy centers. And here we go. This is my senior recital. It's my senior recital. Cindy Demarest, the best voice and piano teacher. I loved her. The real stirring stuff actually came from a much smaller box. All right, so these were books that we had when I was little. I think we got rid of them, and then my mom managed to find new copies of some of them. So they are all about an inspirational person. So in this case, it is a disabled person, and so the value of facing a challenge. And so you learn this value. You learn the way to be through this story of how they became disabled and then overcame their disability and did great things and made people super impressed and all that. This one is Patience. It's all about the Wright brothers, and so they had to try again until they got it right. Captain Cook, definitely a choice to say Captain Cook teaches the value of boldness. So he made charts and astronomy. So yeah, he was a cartographer then. So yeah, boldly going where no one has gone before. Dedication, Albert Schweitzer. I remember, Albert Schweitzer is, let's see, I guess he is a missionary. He also got a doctorate in medicine. So he was a doctor, a philosopher, a theologian, and a musicologist. He was the editor of Bach's organ music. He also did a biography of Bach. That's cool. I was a history major, but no, I do not remember who Albert Schweitzer is. Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur is fabulous. So if you like raw milk, you probably don't like him, because Pasteur is where we get pasteurization from. Let's see, I believe this was about the vaccine. Yeah, he made vaccines. That's what I thought. Oh, boy. Crunchy moms would not like this book. So anyways, that's a little bit of what I got into as a kid. Now, this next piece, this is where it gets hard. So this is my journal from college, and I reading my own words when I was not yet deconstructed. It's a trip, that is for sure. What's crazy is that I was keeping tabs on, I think this must have been from camp or something, because I think it only goes to day 4 or something. And of course, there's all sorts of purity stuff here. Satan is an accuser, a confuser, a bruise maker. He hurts us from the inside out and the outside in. Sure. Okay. Now, I do love that it's got lies about dating, love, and sex. And one is that sex is an obligation. And I think it's funny that they give that to you when you're young. And then as you get older, you have the admonitions from so many people to not deprive your spouse. And so it kind of is an obligation because you do not own your body. Your spouse owns your body and you own your spouse's body. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I did a TikTok about this. I'll link it in the description. I'm not going to sing it right now. But yeah, I wrote a song about Gnosticism when I did not really understand what Gnosticism was. I had a very stripped down and limited view of what Gnosticism was. I learned a lot more about it when I got older. I still don't know all of it. There's a lot to Gnosticism. Well, let's see. Worship and fasting. Interesting. I'm glad I have it noted to check your health before fasting. We don't want to be Carissa. What I thought was people dunking on evolution and proving that young earth creationism is correct. The anthropic principle looks like it was designed but wasn't. For design, you must have someone to design it, intelligence, purpose, and complexity. And I've got a prayer here that I wrote down, thanking God for humbling me and asking him to continue to remind me to not be prideful, be less ashamed of the things that I don't know, help me see that I'm incomplete. Yeah, that absolutely became anxiety, intrusive thoughts later on in life. It probably was at the time too. I do have an interesting thought here. Philosophical thought for the day. I am becoming. Therein God's will, plan for me, is attained. All God wants we to be is become. Okay, that was a bad sentence. But all God wants us to be is to become. Something so simple yet so hard. He chooses the foolish to confound the wise. All we have to do is not worry about the end, but the journey there. For the disciples in Mark 6, it wasn't the other shore that they needed to reach, but the lesson in faith during the storm that they needed to learn. Don't worry about who God wants you to be or what he wants you to do. Just work on focusing on him and becoming more like him. The Christian life is one of completeness through incompleteness. Christ, the author and finisher of our faith, he is our unmoved mover, something I picked up in philosophy class. What we all must move towards, always becoming, never being. We are Aristotle's potential, never actualized until united with Christ and his form imposed upon us. That form, the pure, good, and beautiful, that is the highest ultimate existence we can only strive for. I press on towards the mark of the high calling of Christ. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff about adversity and struggling with uncertainty. Yeah, this guy right here. So this would have been August of 2000. Yep. When adversity is commonplace and the calm disquiets me, I find that I must face my life of contradiction and embrace it, for it is all that I have known in life. I am independent, yet long to be someone's. Is this every woman's lot, this affliction of uncertainty, or merely my own creation, my own mind's devastating gaiety, tormenting me with invented demons? Others cannot seem to be blamed for the things in life that always render my spirit maimed, the inner conflict tearing me apart. Now, I have had moments where I am discussing my childhood with family, and they don't remember me struggling. They don't remember me being depressed or anxious or anything like that. I did a really good job of masking. I knew the rules, and so I followed the rules in my own obsessive, weird way. I've talked about this elsewhere, that this inner conflict that I refer to over and over and over, talking about my thoughts being disjointed and it just streaming through my brain, can't stop things, can't even breathe to like recognize the thought that is flying through my head. Now that would have been the bipolar that was undiagnosed at that point. Then we have, yeah, cringe romantic. I don't even know if that's a poem. It's a stream of consciousness kind of thing. Wow. I want to burn the day, if only to feel the warmth of something. Extreme measures seem oh so rational when the chill seeps into every part. The greatest pain that does not feel. Oh, this must be. Did I rip this from a. Like that I know is from an Italian song. Like that's not something I came up with. Yes, this love as it kills will never leave a prick or pain, its own morphine for the soul. It's an addiction, and of the worst kind, afflicting the soul. Once infected, it takes over your mind, then your body, and finally creeps to your most innermost being. How can I purge myself of this most welcome virus, replicating its desires, taking over my senses and my reason? Why must it choose me, its victim for life, a mortal wound that won't ever finish me off? It drives me to distraction, craving yet hating it. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a struggling gay kid at all. The sensation of warmth and almost forgotten caress found only in imagination. This world is too cold, too harsh as my reality. If only I could return to a world of music and thought, no need for petty physical annoyances, where the only thing required is that which I cannot have, memories too painful, yet I cherish them somehow. Why must I so destroy myself? Granted, this is exactly why I did not keep a journal until I was in college, because I knew that if all my intrusive thoughts and crazy thinking and spiraling out, if all of that stayed inside my head and there was no evidence of it, I couldn't get caught. But if I were to have a journal and write this stuff down, I'd get caught. This is me dealing with the beginning of my hoe phase and feeling like my worth was tied to a body count being low. Like I knew it wasn't me. I knew it wasn't what I believed, but it was just so ingrained when I was, 19 at the time? Oh, sometimes the past seems so much better than where I have come to. I understood then where my place was. I even knew who I was supposed to be. Now I may know my true self, but where does she fit in? And even more, where is she going? I think I hate this team. Maybe not team. We'll see. It always reminds me of how simple life was, but that was another person living another life. Can it ever be that simple again? Everything is so uncertain now. That seems to be the word for my life. Uncertain. Leads to confused. Always ends in frustrated and scared. Yup. So end of 2000, that is middle of my sophomore year. Aw, poor me. 1 year ago, I was engaged, an honors pre-med student at school in Ohio. Now I'm only dating a man, while not only a full-time history major, but a full-time worker, married medical missionary to study crazy breadwinner. Just a little has changed this year. On all I have believed, but to not. Well, that's too scary to think about. I feel so selfish, but so trapped, as if my situation has trapped me, thus forcing me to be selfish. All the rationalizing in the world can't help me. I have a comeback for it all. Now the once incomprehensible is so clear. So this was, this was my first and no, I guess I had two. So I've had two pregnancy scares in my whole life. One of them was in college, and one of them was when I was 25, I think. Yeah, so thankfully, we had a Planned Parenthood nearby. I didn't have a positive pregnancy test. I just knew that I had accidentally had unprotected intercourse. So we booked it over to Planned Parenthood and got the morning after pill, which I know now is just a mega dose of birth control and will only prevent pregnancy. It does not end pregnancy. However, at the time, I thought it was the same as abortion. And so I'm in my feels in these notes here talking about how I know what I need to do. Like, I know what the logical decision is, but I also know what my faith has told me and how incompatible the two things are. And I, of course, dive into the Bible. And here's what's interesting. I'm not talking about Bible verses that have anything to do with pregnancy or family or anything like that. It's things like the Bible is true. Don't add or take away from the Bible. Christ empowers us. We are not bound by the law, but there are limits on our conduct. So this is me kind of reinforcing that brainwashing of the core beliefs that you're supposed to have. Of course, I went to Job. You know, Job is wow. Oh, quick notes on the Communist Manifesto. Has a prose-like writing style. Background information of bourgeoisie and proletariat, enslaved by the machine and their wage decreased as the repulsiveness of work increases, set up for the proletariat revolt, sickened by the need to sell themselves, body and soul as piecemeal. So, yeah, this is just the early understanding of I'm going to be a communist when I grow up. I got engaged again. My parents were not happy. The guy was definitely not the one for me, but dumbass me, because I was young. Frontal lobe hadn't fully formed. But he kept being so controlling and like wouldn't allow me to have negative emotions. Like, I was supposed to be fine regardless of what was going on. I wasn't allowed to have feelings about things. And that obviously does not work. And so I really loved him, but good Lord, if he, oh God, if I had gotten married to that guy, oh, that would have been a horrible, horrible life, because I would have been stuck in the tiny town where there's like no queer community. There's 2 whole bars in the town, both of them cowboy bars. And actually, no, I take that back. I think there's a third one now. But like, I would not have been allowed to be polyamorous. I would not have been able to have the self-exploration that I did when I was with Phil. It just would not have been the same at all. And I ended up in the situations that I needed to be to become the person that I actually am. I feel like I'm on display. I feel like my life is on the news, in everyone's conversation. Everyone knows. I think sometimes seems that strangers know me better than I do. I feel their eyes, hear their remarks, even when they aren't there. Hello, anxiety and oh, okay, this is cringe as hell, but I will regale you with this. You are my Schwarzenegger because you are strong in God. You are my poet and musician because all your words touch my heart like nothing else. You are my Brad Pitt because no one could be more beautiful to me. You are my sunrise. You make my day seem bright. You are my sunset. You bring my day to a gorgeous close. You are my love because you have my heart. I wonder, I think that was, let's see, it says 6 of 2000. Oh, this I copied over from random things that I scribbled on. My like poetry and the songs that I wrote, I felt like were coded enough that it was safe to write them down. And I will have all of these, you know, thoughts about myself and what I think, and I've always got Bible verses that pop up. Now let's see, January of 2001. Who was I dating in 2001? That would have been Phil. So actually, I think this might be, yeah, this was before I dumped a guy I dated like 2 or 3 different times between 18 and 21. That's what happens when you live in a small town. There's only so many people to date, so you end up dating the same people more than once. Feeling awful about poor communication in relationships, and the tendencies to codependency were all over this stuff. And yeah, here's a jewel, A Knight Without Armor. That's what the book is called. It's hard to find the balance when you are in love. You're lost in the middle because you have to decide between mind and heart. Enigma, because it was the 90s. I am la femme fatale. Friends and brothers fight to gain my affections. Secret trysts in the night. Who turned this switch? What has so recently changed? Or has this always sat silently in the dark? Carmen. Is this a gift or a monster? To be used or controlled? How can I assure myself it won't leave me cold? The boys may fight, that is them, but I am at fault to not stop their foolishness. Carmen, the seeds of a bitter crop. It must be because I am seemingly so unattainable. One always wants what they cannot have, unavailable. Who cares who wants you when your only love is out of reach? What does any conquest matter if your only desire cannot be caught? But yeah, I was super duper duper into romance and love and relationships. Like, I thought that my life would not be, I guess, an adult life, a real life, if I didn't have a serious long-term partner. I just thought you couldn't go through life all by yourself. You'd be lonely. Come on. It's awful being by yourself. Says the person who has now been intentionally single for years and absolutely loves it. But I was just so determined to make it work with people that weren't right for me. And that is something that I've gotten much better at. But yeah, that's been a consistent battle that I have made. I just put in, figuring, I can make it better, I can make it better, I can make it better. Maybe they'll start helping, maybe they'll start working on things, but yeah, it just, no. Oh, lovely. Running, I run all day. Gotta just go, no time for stop. Feeling, what do I feel? Do I feel it all? No time for emotion. Sleeping, I'm an autopilot. Sleep through work, sleep to stay alive. To the mountains, their safe green arbor, like long-lost ships flock to the harbor. Feel the song, wrap you in the breeze, the mountain's arm around your shoulder. Climb the peaks, feel the sky, allow your spirit release from bodily restraint. Hear him call, alone on a hill. His voice is so strong, no noise to drown it. Feel his love through the awesome gift. Strong mountain, tender wind, how could one deny him? So, of course, that is not romantic. That's just, the trying to find peace in God. I run, but now with wings. I crash, but not breaking things. My helper, my savior, is beside me again. The good he was forced to withhold now begins to pour showers of gold. My father, my true love, is home in me again. Why? Why did we do that? Why did we fall in love with Jesus? Well, I can tell you why. There was a song. Was it Jars of Clay? But yeah, it went on and on and on about how he was gonna fall deeper in love with Jesus. So this is after 9/11, and I am struggle bussing. Nice. I want to be the person whom the president calls when he needs to know how to handle such and such situations. I want to be on the team of experts who helps the leader of the free world do just that. So I did actually run for a local office. It was no big deal. I lost to the PTA's chosen candidate. So, once you have the PTA behind you in a small town, that's all you need. I did not have a chance. But, it was a good experience to campaign and everything, although it felt a lot like deputation. And then I found Dave Matthews Band. Well, I mean, I had found Dave Matthews Band before that, but he put out the album The Space Between, and oh my God. I would say The Space Between, Hey, I'm Just Like You, and then Bayside's Interrobang. Like those three albums were perfect for me at the very moments that they happened to get released, and I was obsessed with them for years afterwards. Yeah, it was very much my thing. Aww. So this is actually an ode to my friends. To Captain and Smirnoff, James Bond and 1080 games, weekends together partying, sleepless nights talking. The years go by and we change, but not at all. I'll never let you go, my sanity is my friends. Boyfriends, girlfriends, fiancés, fights, bonding, parties, everything that happens only brings us closer. Of all life's lessons, this I'll never forget. Do not take for granted such a friendship long earned. College, careers, life, victory, failure, we're there for each other. Pick you up if you fall. I think this is the DDP. I do not remember what we called our crew. It was cringe. The new crew, people come and go, Egypt to our own Salida, only distance is between us. Weddings, babies, funerals, graduation, adulthood, moving. Time can't hurt that bond, God's gift to each of us. My life is what it is because of these people, my extended family. Can't imagine life without them. I love you, always will. Can't wait to see you on in eternity. My better halves you are. So I'm almost there. Like I'm finding my chosen family and I am, finding happiness there, but I am still attributing things to God. This is a song that I worked on really hard, and I wish I could remember the music. Underneath my skin there crawls, there grows something, someone within. Do I dare let it loose on the world? Will it be ridiculed or embraced? I'm almost too scared to find out. I want my own little bubble, a hurt-free test run, life's reset button. So much that I could do, but do I really want to spend my whole life wrapped up in one thing? I'm too worried. Don't categorize me, but I know people will. Why? Have I really got the balls to do this, or will I just hide in mediocrity? A hamster on a wheel, always running and striving to go nowhere. Aww. This was after I met my ex-husband. Aw, okay, so this is really cute. He makes me super happy. I could spend forever and never get bored. Um, yeah. An ally when the world is against you, a cheerleader with you, something every prize, a soft shoulder at every pain, sanity in a constantly shifting world, something God left to make life just that much better. What do you do when everything is fine, but you're just so paranoid that something's wrong? If you can't find anything, if you can't find little in the beginning, does that mean something huge is coming around the corner? How can you get over it and just quit worrying, especially when they worry about the same damn thing? Is it possible to create something wrong just to fulfill your doubts? I'm beginning to think not, because my mind makes up problems, but they never actually happen. It's always a figment of my imagination. Oh, and he even understands, so why do I keep worrying? Ooh, I told off a friend that, interesting, was making me feel miserable about something. Oh, I'm currently on a break from finishing my bachelor's in European history, and my past 3 years of coursework have helped me acquire an extensive knowledge of computers and work-related software. Aha! Here I am trying to get into IT. Little did I know that would absolutely become my whole future. Kiss me and tell me I'm not dreaming. Hold my hand, keep me near, look in my eyes and see what I'm scheming. You and I forever in love. I could get lost swimming in the deep moonlit pools in your eyes. I could spend days tracing every supple cranny, something of your body. Weird. I have really bad handwriting. I would spend eternity wrapped in your loving embrace, but for now, my fair lady, I will wait patiently in the wings till the time is right and the fates intertwine our souls. This is a lot of me having issues accepting that I am a disabled person. This was about the time that my fibromyalgia really started to cause me problems. And so I am in a bad spot. They put me on antidepressants, hoping to both alleviate depression and help with my pain. And yeah, since I'm bipolar, that made me manic all the time. And typically, after a manic episode, I have a depressive episode. So I was having at least a few really bad depressive episodes every single year. So we have the dark days. The dark days have returned, the blackness of helplessness, the void of hopelessness. It threatens to consume me. I know you have plans for me, plans to prosper and not to harm. Yet the burden is so heavy. It weighs down on my soul. The pain stabs at my body and mind. There is nothing that eases it. The barbiturates, narcotics, and all other pills numb my senses but can't dull the pain. I know there is love around me, but I don't feel its warmth. I know there is help around me, but I can't find its hand. How is it possible to feel so alone when I know something surrounds me? It's as though the pain is hiding me, surrounding me in a thick fog. Words both human and divine sound hollow and vain through the fog. Loving, open arms become icy in the fog. The fog tempts me to end my suffering. It says I'll never break free, so I should give up on this world and hurry home to eternal bliss. Yet a part of me fights this fog. A part of me still believes joy will return. It reminds me that I have a purpose. It tries to drown out the fog's taunts. Still the fog calls louder. I don't want this fog around me, but the peace it offers entices me. I feel guilty for desiring its morbid gift, but that only serves to weaken my will. I wish this misery to end, and am scared of what I might do. I don't want to take the cowardly way out. Just a note to old me, it's not cowardly, it's a mental health disorder. It is not a moral judgment to have mental illness, to struggle with these things. Yeah, that was something I shouldn't have had to worry about. But I don't know if I have the strength. I plead of the divine to send me a light, show me the way that I might overcome, make love's warmth and support break through, that I may gain the strength that I need. Adonai, Elohim, Jehovah, Yahweh, Dagda, Bridget, Rhiannon, Sophia, Covinta, and Morrigan, break through the fog, covering your child, set her free to again do your will. So like, I'm calling out to every god that I know of in the whole frickin' world. I'm like, somebody get me out of this horrible depressive hole that circles around all this pain. Chronic pain there really isn't anything quite like it. Like, I've dealt with a lot of pain in my life, lots of sports injuries, car accidents, etc. But when I hit the chronic pain, and like, I was on the pain scale, I was at like a 7 for 3 months. Like, I seriously wanted to claw my skin off my body and just like, shed this mortal coil. Like, oh, what's his name? Eustace on The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. But it was just so like, I could not function. I could not breathe. It was so awful. And there was so much of me trying to depend on God. And you'll notice right about here where I'm like trying to hang on to the Lord's will and everything, and I stopped journaling. And that's when things got really dark. But again, I am here, clearly. So in the back of this journal, we have very important things. Very important things. This is how to do a Misty 180 lean air, most likely in SSX Tricky. We have a this is key lime pie recipe. I forget who I got it from, but they had an amazing recipe, so I know it's a good one. I really should make it sometime. Kahlua chocolate mousse. Ooh, I learned how to make this when I was a baker. I am not always great at the chocolate folding into it. I sometimes break the chocolate, but mix carefully. No chunks. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Do not overmix. Yeah. These whipped things you cannot overmix. It's so bad. What have we got? Oh, hey. This was my very first dispensary. Oh, Song of Solomon. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine. Behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes. His left hand is under my head, and his right hand doth embrace me. O my dove, thou art in the clefts of the rock, in the secret places of the stairs. Let me see thy countenance. Let me hear thy voice. For sweet is thy voice, and thy countenance is comely. Set me as a seal upon thine heart, a seal upon thine arm, for love is strong as death. Many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it. That's sweet. Oh God. Ugh. So this was something I wrote either in high school or my freshman year of college, talking about my future spouse, who I had not met at the time. I desire to be a crown for you, the one to stand with you and walk with you through life. My love, no greater joy could be given me than your faithful love, God's helpmeet for me. I think it's funny that I, as someone who at the time identified as a woman, is looking for God's helpmeet when the girl is supposed to be the helpmeet. But anyways, my love, life is perfected with you, my toils and troubles less burdensome, my triumphs ever more joyous. I desire to love you, to have and to hold, in riches and in poverty, in sickness and in health, to love and to honor, until death alone separates us. This is my solemn vow in love. I wonder if I got that from somewhere. I don't know. It's cheesy. Sailor Jerry. Nice. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I contacted a representative in 2003. Of course, I got just a basic response letter. He didn't really read my letter. But yeah, the Ecstasy Awareness Act basically was threatening to shut down, especially late night or overnight musical events. So they were trying to figure out how to separate the concerts where people drink from festivals where people might smoke weed, or raves where people might do other drugs. And so they were trying to set up all of these restrictions on when you were allowed to have musical events. It was ridiculous. So we fought it. It never passed. They actually had several bills that they tried to put through, roughly achieving the same thing. So we were on it. All right, so that is my brain between the years of 99 and 2001. I had basically said to myself in 2000 that I was leaving the church group, sect, whatever that I had been in, and I was going to find my own church. And I was still thinking that, I would retain my original faith. I would just, go to a different church and have some slightly different views on things. but remain a Christian. However, what actually ended up happening, let me fix this. I was still very much in the faith, if not the church, if that makes sense. Um, it was a gradual process between like 2001 and I think probably 2004, where I really was breaking it down and trying to figure out if I could remain Christian. Um, the answer ended up being no. And so I studied a number of different belief systems before, kind of stumbling upon some rabbinic writings and really resonating with what they said. Um, Modest Yahoo definitely helped with that. It was such a beautiful faith moment for me when I was able to engage with Jewish prayer and everything and feel that closeness to the divine without all of the intense anxiety and shame and intrusive thoughts and all the crap that I had not been able to escape the whole time I was in the church. And I was like, okay, this feels right. Like I can actually come to God and not feel like a worthless lump of human that does not deserve to be here, that does not deserve anything. Like I am a spark of the divine. I am useful and intentional and here to serve a purpose, given gifts to be able to do things. I'm not useless or whatever. Like, it's not a matter of I need Christ in me in order to do his will. It's more of a God gave me this and then said, okay, go, go, go. And so it's up to me to go and do the thing, to, live my life in a ethical and values driven way. Like it's not different, but it's really different. And I'm really excited because my conversion class starts in like 3 months, and I'm really hoping to be able to verbalize this all better once I'm kind of working through it with an actual teacher rather than just me following along with sermons and writings and things like that. However, in the meantime, I did pick up the Women's Torah Commentary, which has been highly recommended for kind of understanding the different perspectives of gender in the Torah. So very excited to read that in kind of preparation for the conversion class. When I was talking with the rabbi and kind of giving him an idea of where I'm at from what I've studied and what I've practiced and whatnot. And he was like, okay, you're going to be a little bit ahead, a little more advanced than most of the people in the class. But he was like, it'll still be useful for you. And, we'll still get you to the end and we'll get you converted and make it all official. So eventually, hopefully, in just a little over a year from now, I will be sitting before or standing before a Beit Din and dipping in the mikvah to make it all signed, sealed, and delivered. But it's been a really long path to get to where I am. I mean, like I said, that's 99. That was 24 years ago. That means that I have been on this journey, in this process, 24 years. Now, not everyone takes that long. I am one of those people that must learn the lesson by myself. I can't just learn from other people doing things. It would be really nice if I could. I'm getting better But yeah, especially when I was in my 20s and early 30s, I did not process well. I still had so many maladaptive coping techniques that making serious progress was slow and difficult. Um, Now that I have gotten myself into a situation that is actually conducive to me finding myself and my faith and really solidifying things, I've been able to make much greater progress than I did in the years before. I really feel like this period where I've done the intentional singleness so I can work on myself, I'm really seeing returns from that. And so I am really expectantly awaiting the day when I can really take off and just be. This conversion thing has been going on for a decade, probably a little over a decade, because it was just, little bits here, little bits there, little bits here, little bits there. I've done so much reading in the last 4 years. It's kind of insane. I've listened to so many sermons about the Parshas, and I can not only say the prayers, I can chant the prayers. So I'm really making progress. Now, granted, my Hebrew still sucks. Lord help me. Learning another language right now feels next to impossible, especially when there's a different alphabet. So hopefully that's something that I can kind of force myself to do while I am doing this official conversion class later this year. And if not, it's okay. You don't have to be fluent in Hebrew, at least not for Reform, and probably not for Conservative. Certainly you would for like Orthodox or Hasidic or something. So that's kind of a peek in at who I was in the church and my brain as I was coming out of the church. When I first pulled that out of the box and I started reading the first few pages, the emotions were so strong, so strong. And I had to put it away for like a week and be like, we're not gonna touch that. Nope, 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 not doing it. But now that I'm more grounded and able to read through it, my heart goes out to younger me. Like, undiagnosed bipolar and religious trauma, like that's so much to deal with. And the way that I was convinced that I had to figure it out on my own. Part of that being because in the early 2000s and certainly the 90s, there really wasn't much coverage for mental health care under health insurance. So mental health care was for the rich. And so I, got out of college believing mental health care is for the rich. It's not something I'm ever going to get. And when the general practitioner was prescribing me antidepressants and it was making things so much worse, I ended up having to go see a psychiatrist and just pay through the nose to be able to see this guy every 3 months to manage my meds. And it was better, but since I didn't have a therapist and I didn't really know what I was doing with meds, I did not know the difference between just normal anxiety or religious trauma or bipolar episode. Like, figuring all of that out took so long, so long. And so my heart really goes out to younger me who was struggling with all of this and having the rug pulled out from underneath of you when you realize that you cannot continue with the belief that you were raised with. And that, that's the Weird Al songs, Everything You Know Is Wrong. Between 19 and 23 was a really rough period for me. There were some amazing highs during those years, but internally I was a hot mess. And I have to stop myself from thinking this too often, but I can only imagine where I would be today if, 20-year-old me could have been referred to a therapist to talk to somebody about all of this. But again, we can't focus too much on that. We have to remember that things happen the way they happen. We can't change that. We can only accept, give ourselves grace, and move forward. So, as I find more stuff, because I've still got a few boxes, well, more than a few boxes in the storage unit, I will give you guys updates if I find any more treasure troves.